tell us a little bit about, let's say, for instance, Independence Day, the history of Independence Day. You have something on that?
Well, Independence Day, which is the real holiday for July 4th. It's not the fireworks and the hot dogs and the hamburgers and all that stuff. The independence of the country was written by the people that were in the Continental Congress at the time. The prime authors were Thomas Jefferson and John Adams.
Okay.
They got together, and obviously other people contributed. The beginning of it is ideals of what the government should be, these truths of self-evident, blah, blah, and on like that. Then there's several pages of charges of what the colonies thought was harm being done to them by the King of England. Okay. That was John Adams' stuff. Jefferson, in fact, wanted Adams to be identified as the prime author, and Adams told him he was crazy, because if he did, there was so much animosity to Adams for different reasons, it never would have got passed. Right. So Jefferson is considered the prime author, and he was for much of the beginning.
And they were best of friends as well as the worst of enemies.
At the time, they were the best of friends. Adams, of course, became Washington's vice president, and then he became the second president. And when he was coming up for re-election, Jefferson ran against them. Yeah. That's when the animosity began. Afterwards...
Similar to the politics of today, right?
Something, yeah. But in this case, the animosity eventually ended. Yeah, and there's a lot of correspondence between the two in their later years that ranks it right up there with American literature of what government is about and things like that. And strangely enough, we're talking about July 4th. Right. The two of them passed away on July 4th, 1826. And the two of them, the Declaration of Independence, they are the only two people who became president who signed the Declaration of Independence.
John Adams said something on his deathbed related to Jefferson.
And he said, at least Jefferson still lives.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And for maybe a couple of hours, he was right.
Wow. Did you want to talk a little bit about Salem's origins?
Salem was part of Massachusetts.
Okay.
There was no Salem. The portion on the eastern side, where I reside, was actually part of Haverhill. Other parts were parts of Methuen. Over a period of time, the kings of England gave land grants to people that were favored. Yeah. And as happens over a century or so, people were getting the same land grant that somebody already had. Yeah. So 1740, the king of England at the time set up a survey party that went up the Merrimack River from the ocean up to Lowell and circled around. And they came back, and the king made a ruling that anything 3 miles north of the river, the Merrimack River, over 3 miles became extinct from the Massachusetts Bay Colony and became part of New Hampshire. Right, right. And that's how Salem began.
Why did they decide to break it up?
Well, because of the fights over who really owned the land, what it was, things like that. Right. Actually, there were more fights down in the southern part of Massachusetts. There were people fighting over land that was very, very valuable. But they had to do the whole thing, and that's how they did it.